Good morning and happy Friday this week. Welcome to the Real Prosperity Project. Thank you so much for joining us. We had real life happen, and you know what? We had to postpone a day, and so we're filming Friday instead of Thursday. But the Real Prosperity Project is about prosperity in all areas of life. It encompasses more than just financial success. It includes emotional, physical, social, and spiritual well being. We are Tanisha Tearing and Charlene Reedman, and we want to share our real life experiences of lessons learned, overcoming challenges, and moments of triumph. We are excited to share our journey with others to support you in cultivating attitudes of belief that foster abundance and growth in your daily life. This is to help develop a mindset of prosperity that not only benefits you, but also inspires those around you. I'm Tanisha Tearing, and this is
Charlene Reedman coming to you from the wonderful, not so warm northern BC/Alberta, kind of right on the border there. Yeah, welcome, welcome. Good to be back. Yeah, yeah. Life happened yesterday and we couldn't match our schedules. Weird.
uh, yeah, and that's part of just being a real life human, having real life experiences, right? And that's why we get to find prosperity. And hey, we get to do it today when we have a little bit more energy. We were
Yeah,
able to coordinate our schedules, and yeah, so that's gratitude, right? Maybe something would have went wrong yesterday with the internet. Who knows?
yeah.
But
Who
today is
knows?
a better day, clearly.
Hey, Tanisha, did you enjoy Brent Locke last week or what?
Oh my gosh, he was amazing. I was so glad to have him on. He is just a blessing of a human being, beautiful soul, and just a bright, bright, bright outlook on life, eh?
Yeah, exactly. That was so much fun. Yeah, it was so cool to have a guest on, and I'm excited for next week because we have another special guest.
Yes, we have an amazing guest coming on next week. Totally different subject than entrepreneurship, too. This week's episode today is called The Mental Gym. All right, and our focus is really going to be just talking about things that you can do to change your mindset and just have a more positive outlook. And next week's episode, we'll give you a little sneak peek. It's going to be a follow up with someone who's done a lot of work in that area and has a lot of great things to share with you.
Yeah, that's and even if our listeners out there today may have some questions that we can ask our guest speaker for next week. So things like, when did you hear about personal development? What have you done? Is this a family event? Things like that. Like really, really curious questions that we can follow up with our guest next week. And I'm really excited because he's done quite a shift.
Yes, I love that word shift. So, yeah, if our listeners do have any questions, like Charlene said, put it in the comments of wherever you're listening, YouTube, Spotify. We pay attention to it. We will post some stuff on our social media too. So if you comment there, we can ask those questions as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the mental gym. Okay. This is like, we talk about the gym. Oh, I need to go to the gym, get a membership, and work my muscles. But quite often we forget that the 6 inches between our ears is another muscle. And I don't know about you guys or Tanisha, maybe a little feedback on this. But as you were growing up or in your environment, or what age did you just like this kind of came up and slapped you in the face? And it was like, oh, what are we telling ourselves and how do we talk to ourselves and what does personal development mean? And there's so much out there now about how to help yourself. Like, Tanisha, what was your pivotal point in your life that you found this personal development journey?
Well, I had always searched for more, and had always been I'd say since I was a young teenager, been looking for, you know, something bigger, something better, a different way of looking. And so I always attended counseling or psychology seminars or like, and I really did. I attended a thing called informed trauma training, and it was really, really cool. It taught about the psychology of the brain and like the reptilian brain and like how to shift out of that. And it was a really cool course. But I think the most pivotal moment for me was actually when I met you and the company that we work with. Um, I have never quite felt like I fit somewhere. And it was December 4th, and I believe it was 2021. And I walked into a room, and it was just right after or it was during COVID still. And I hadn't had a hug. Nobody smiled anymore. It was just miserable. And I walked into this room. It was a super Saturday. That's what it was. And I had never met any of you. And there's
Aside from
hundreds of
being
us.
on Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
not
Hundreds
in
of us.
person.
I've walked into rooms like that before, with lots of people, and it's always like who's better dressed, and there's those like you could feel the presence of ego, and it was just a disgusting feeling when you walk into those rooms. But this room was different. Everybody was welcoming. Didn't matter that it was COVID. We were all hugging. We were all happy and cheerful, and not a single moment did I feel judged. And I was like, these are the people that have been doing the mental work. These are the people that have shed the ego and just love one another for being one another. And I was like, this is where I belong. And that was the moment that I was like, I'm going to do more mental gym work. And I just started following the lead of a lot of people in our industry. And it's been incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy. I never heard of really personal development until I was in my middle 40s, and I was blown away. And it was funny because I actually started with a fellow by the name of Robin Sharma. Very interesting. He has a book called, oh, what the heck? I should have wrote it down. The Monk. He has a 5 a.m. club as well. But anyways, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna check this out. And I was doing videos every morning. I was getting ready for work, and my daughter lived at home at the same time. So I'd be playing these videos, putting my hair and makeup together and getting breakfast and lunches and rushing out the door, you know, for our day ahead.
Yeah.
And one night, Kaylee, my daughter, she's like, Mom, come see what I did. And I'm like, okay, so I went to her bedroom, and she had all her goals stuck up on her wall, as Robin Sharma had said. I mean, we can talk about things, but if we don't like visually look at it or talk about it or show people what our goals are, they're kind of pointless. So, again, just FYI, you guys, what you do if you have little ones at home, and she wasn't a little one, she was like 16, 15, 16 at the time, they're watching you 100%. And the people around you
Wow.
are watching you, right?
Yeah.
So when you think nobody's watching, they're watching. So what are you doing, right? So then I'm like, oh my God, she's like kicking my butt. So then I had to go and do all my little goals and stick them all around my bedroom and my bathroom, and just where do you see it visually to keep you inspired?
That's incredible that you inspired your daughter to start, on her journey of practicing that creation and that visualization, because that's something that very little of the population can actually do because they just can't see past their next paycheck.
Yeah.
I think it's something like less than 2% of the population has a vision or a goal past their next paycheck.
Oh, and F, I guess FYI is my word of the day. Um, actually have it written down.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's Bob Proctor, actually. I was taking a little bit of Bob Proctor. Another incredible way to do personal development. There's so many coaches out there, and it really doesn't matter who you follow or who you resonate with, as long as you start. That's what's important. Is you start working on what's best for you. By doing that, sit down, envision your future, envision what you want it to look like, and write it down. Post it everywhere.
Yeah, and even John Maxwell, another amazing, like he's 70, later 70s now. He's been doing this whole life. But when he started out, one of his mentors asked him specifically, "What is your personal development plan for the year?" And John Maxwell's like, "What are you talking about?"
Really?
Yeah, like that's like when he was in his 20s. He was actually a preacher, and he is a preacher actually, but he took the principles of what he was doing in the church and switched it into leadership. So I'm just thinking back to I was in a leadership role years ago in a banking system. But
Yeah.
now that I look back, we actually weren't taught the leadership part of it. We were just like, you're a manager, so now you're a boss. So just something that's totally two different things. If you go into a manager role, what are you doing to develop your leadership skills for that manager
Mm.
role? So you're a manager or a leader at your own home as well. So what are you, managing people, and that can be really exhausting because you're like, it's like a chess game, right? You're putting person here, person there, and blah blah blah. But a leadership development or personal development, this is where you can help people want to do the things that you are asking of them instead
Hmm.
of, oh, I have to because she's the boss, in quotation.
Mm. Yeah, that makes for a really awful work environment too,
Yeah.
is when people are in the management business and they are just the boss, right? Instead of leading and inspiring and making it an amazing place to follow,
Yes.
right? Those environments can change everything. It takes one bad manager to ruin a business, you know?
Oh, 100%. Because, I
Yeah.
mean, think of your own career now or a career you've had in the past where you just like you were banging heads against your boss,
Oh, yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
why? You know why? Because they were bossing you around. Mr. and Mrs.
Hmm.
Bossy Pants.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially like I actually remember that. This is a great story. So I had been hired at 19 years old, a very young manager at a bakery deli. Okay. And the boss was like, I'm going to give you a chance. He's like, I just see something in you. You're going to do this. Okay. And uh, I went in and I started managing. And it wasn't, I don't know, I wasn't a manager. I was really good with food and customers, but I wasn't the manager. And so he brought in another woman, but I had been there for a year and a half at this point doing a lot. And she came in so hot and ready to turn things around. It was an awful couple of weeks because like I had already known how to do the job, but she's standing there micromanaging and
Oh,
like
oh,
picking at me and like,
micromanaging.
oh, and like you're not slicing that deli meat right. Like, and it's like, bro, I've been here a year and a half. I know how to slice the deli meat. If you need to me to change something on the admin end, I can do that.
That's so
But yeah,
crazy.
had she come in and just been like, hey, you've done an amazing job for a year and a half. Why don't we work together to make some changes to bring it up to a better, more sales or whatever? That would have been a better approach. And that's the difference between leading and managing, right?
100%. Um, I have a question for you, Tanisha. Is I know this last summer you went on a personal journey experience. just wondering, like, what's your biggest takeaway from that you've been able to implement into like your life, your family's life? Like, what helps
Mm.
shift some thinking, some mental gym items?
I got two things.
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
And I'll start with I'm not alone.
Ooh.
Okay. So a lot of times I have felt very alone, very isolated in my life, which is just not true. Okay. And it's because I wasn't willing to trust the people around me enough to help me in the areas that I needed support. Okay.
Mm.
I was so afraid of being hurt that I refused to trust. So I felt very alone. You don't have to feel alone. You just have to trust. Okay. And so that was something, there was a lot of experiences, and I'm not going to go into it because if anybody ever does the course that I'm talking about, you'll need to experience it on your own.
Yeah.
But it was an absolutely incredible trust moment. And I learned that throughout the whole week I was there. The other thing that has really changed my life since June when I went to Texas, which was an experience all on its own. It was so
Hmm.
cool. And so hot. uh, was victim versus choice.
Mm.
So, Charlene, not between, in every single moment of every single day, we can go victim. Poor me, this is happening to me. The tire blew, like, and it's ruining my life, or now I'm going to be late for my doctor's appointment. I'm going to be late for this. Or you can choose out of victim and you can remember that every single thing after that thing happens, that thing is happening for you, not to you. It's happening for you for a reason. There is a silver lining. You just have to find it, and you get to choose whether or not you find it. So the state of mind I talked about, I said the example was the tire blowing. Okay. And now I'm late for everything. You can choose to see it that way and have a really crappy day, or you can say, you know what? This probably saved me from an accident down the road.
Right.
And I'm going to take this as a blessing and a sign that I wasn't meant to be there on time. Maybe I get to be late for this big event and I get to show up and everybody turns and looks at me because I'm the one coming in late and I get to smile and light up everybody's day.
That's
You
a
know?
big thing because we should always be looking for the good in a situation,
Hmm.
whether it's in your bad situation or whatever, but always look, if you look for the good in that situation,
Yeah.
that's a mental gym thing.
Oh, 100%. And that's something that you have to learn because we're not taught that early on.
Well,
Society is not meant to be nice.
no, we are in fight or flight. Like that's
Hmm.
just our primitive days because back in the day we probably running from a dinosaur or whatever, right? We're
Yeah.
fight or flight. We're gonna be somebody's next meal way back. But that's programmed into our brain. And we can either buy into that mentality or we can choose not to. And I love that when you say you choose,
Yeah.
right? So we can
And we,
choose every day what kind of mood we're gonna be in. I mean, I can wake up this morning and go, I'm gonna be cranky.
uh-huh. That's a choice. Uh, that's exactly the point, is that's a choice. So part of that practice, and I'll just share it with you without ruining the whole exercise that I went through for a week. But basically we went to a really negative place from our past, okay, where we were in victim. So we got to choose that moment that we went back to, and we got to sit there and be really negative about it. Really bleh. And then we got to go back to that same place a few minutes later but we got to go from it at a different point of view. So what did I choose in that moment? What were my choices that I made in that awful moment? And you know what? It was so empowering and uplifting to go from that victim in that past trauma to an empowerment of choice. It was just the most beautiful thing. And I highly, highly, highly recommend doing your inner work and doing your mental gym, because it has healed so much of me, because it's allowed me to come at it from a place of empowerment and choice.
Well, and it's so true because we carry our baggage from our past, and we have to learn to let, I think it's called let God. No, it's not. It doesn't mean a connotation of um, religion, but it's more of a connotation of you have to let it be, accept it,
Mhm.
and then let it be, right? And because if we keep looking at the rear view mirror, like when you're driving, you're not looking at your rear view mirror trying to go ahead. But in life, sometimes we keep looking backwards and trying to move ahead, but we keep looking to our past.
Yeah.
And that sometimes can be our wall to push us through to the next level that we want to be at, whatever that is for each person, right?
Hmm.
But accepting, like in that exercise you did, accepting that, yeah, it was a negative moment, but then the next step was you choosing to be positive and let it go. Accepting and forgiving. Forgiving's huge.
Yes, forgiving is huge. And there's so many ways to forgive without, like, I'm lost, but you can forgive even in awful situations.
Yeah.
You know, there, I was in a very, very abusive relationship for many years. And there was this moment since I've left that situation where I've gone through all sorts of different emotions: hatred, anger, sadness, everything. And one day, since I've started doing all of my mental gym work, there was a moment where I was like, you know what? I had choice there. And instead of sitting in that, like, icky anger and shame and that vibration that we talked about a couple of episodes ago, I was like, you know what? I forgive him. That was a piece of my life that actually made me into the person that I am today. And I need to thank that person.
This is going to go into my ending talk, but um, where I was going to go with this, I guess my point is find find a personal development program. I mean, you can find stuff online for free. You don't have to pay tens and tens of thousands of dollars, but you should have a budget for personal development, where it's $100 or maybe it's an Audible um, subscription, so
Subscription.
you can, as I say, prescription, but so you can listen to things. But I would recommend finding something that resonates with you that gives you homework, because
Mm,
listening or reading is only a part of it, but there's got to be some tangible action steps for you on a daily and a weekly basis. And that's where I find like Bob Proctor and John Maxwell are so good, because they're
hmm.
like, here's what you need to do to help improve your life, and they give you actual homework
Yeah.
and things to work on at the mental
Hmm.
gym. Little workouts. Boop, boop, boop.
Yeah. That little mental gym, right? Exactly. And it helps you to, yeah, it just helps you to move past things. It helps you to move forward into greatness and excellence. You don't need to be perfect. Nobody is
Oh
perfect.
God, no! If we were all
But
perfect,
why don't
the
you be
world
the
would be
best
boring.
version of you that you can be? And that includes feeling all the emotions. Life isn't all about pure happiness. Life is about experiencing anger, experiencing sadness, experiencing shame and guilt. But then it's your ability to overcome that and still be happy through it.
So this makes me think of, we're doing a paradigm shift. Now, when I heard about this paradigm thing back in when I was about 10, oh, not even 10 years ago, I was like, what's this paradigm shift thing? So I went off and I did some Bob Proctor. I went to like Toronto, went to LA, and he's like, whether you're right-handed or you're left-handed, but that's what we know. So this is a really good exercise. It's super easy and it's super fun. So if you're right-handed, pick a sentence. Like, I would suggest something out of your goals, but use your other hand to write it. And do that every day for 30 days. Like, do like 10 lines of using your opposite hand, because this is again a mental gym exercise, because we've conditioned our right hand for writing. And when you
Mhm.
see how the paradigm shift works, it's you're taking yourself, making yourself uncomfortable to start to make a change by using your opposite hand to write out that one sentence. And you probably won't be able to read it for a few days, but by the end of the 30 days, it's as good as your right hand. It is crazy. Actually, I need to get
What?
into this one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to do that too. Man, maybe we should start after this podcast. We should start our journey and practice what we preach
I
and
know.
try that again. And we can report back on it in 4 weeks.
Yeah, that would be really cool. It is, like I say, it's a fun exercise. It's uncomfortable. It's out of our norm, and it just shows you like what a paradigm shift, whatever that might be specifically that you want to work on. But it just shows you the transition. But you can visually see that, right, every day by using your opposite hand.
Okay, so let's go over this for our listeners again. Okay, so we use whatever your dominant hand is, we use the opposite.
Yes.
Okay, and we write out, let's, you and I are going to write out our goal, our major goal,
Yeah.
short term goal, not long
Yeah.
term.
Like a sentence, like just one liner.
One sentence. How many times do we write it?
I would say, if you can spend each day, I would write it out at least 5 to 10 times on a piece
Okay.
of paper every day for 30 days with your opposite hand.
Okay. I'm going to write it 10 times per day with my opposite hand for 4 weeks, and we will report back to you in 4 weeks of how that shifted my writing.
And can you
My
imagine,
mindset.
like, what if you had a goal and say you want to make $250,000 in 1 year? So you're like, I earned $250,000 this year. What if you wrote that 10 times for 30 days? Do you think that's going to get implanted into your brain?
Oh, yep.
Do you see the other point of doing this is like
Mm-hmm.
you're writing out specific thing.
Yeah.
So the um writing to paper is actually, it reinforces into our brain rather than just saying it. There's something in our brain that switches when we actually physically write things out
Hmm.
on a daily basis, 10 times a day with your opposite hand.
Hey, listeners, if you're getting the point, we mean go write it for 10
Yeah,
times a day. This is your mental exercise. Go stretch.
yeah, it's so true.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Wow. I think we really talked about a lot today and we touched on a lot. And I'm super, super excited for our guest speaker tomorrow. He has been doing
Next week,
years
not
and
tomorrow.
years. Oh, next week. Thank you,
Wait,
Charlene.
what? We're doing this tomorrow?
I need to flex my mental gym. Next week. And I'm just so excited for you guys to hear from him. He is just an incredible soul, beautiful human inside and out, and has done a lot of shifting and has a lot of tangible things for you guys. So,
Yeah. Um, Yeah, and I just want to circle back to Tanisha. You said earlier about your past and how that brought you to where you are today. So I have some comments.
Okay,
Okay.
let's
I wrote
hear
them
them.
down with
Uh-oh.
my glasses on. Anyways, just some food for thought. Whatever you have become, like today, you spent your entire life becoming. Okay.
Hmm.
And here's my question. What have you spent your life becoming? And do you like what it is? You know, look at your life. Are you mediocre? Are you broke? Are you a victim? Or are you serving others? This is huge. We could do a whole lot, a topic on serving. Are you wealthy? Are you free? Like, do you know what I mean? Or is there some areas there that you need to improve on? Because the most important question is, what are you going to spend the rest of your life becoming? And what or who are you going to become? And let's be honest, a lot of people don't see that until they're in their halfway mark.
Mm.
And we don't know our expiry date.
Mm-mm.
So, and you could even look at it this way. If you pass away, what are people going to say about you? What do you think
What do you
people
think
have to
people
say
have
about
to say
you?
about you?
And that can be a shifting moment for you. Do you want people to comment on what a wonderful person you've been? You served your community, you served others, you're a family person, like all of that, all encompassing. Or do you want to be remembered because you were the mean the mean person?
The Grinch.
Grinch. The Grinch
Ebenezer
turned it
Scrooge.
around.
The Scrooge.
Yeah. And Scrooge turned it around, right?
Hmm.
So just yeah, take a look, reflect. Not that it's right or wrong, but is it who you want to become? Are you who you want to be? And you can change it. Good
Hmm.
news.
Yeah. That is the best news is you can change it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you all for listening. We're so blessed to have your time here today. And as always, follow us on YouTube and Spotify. Um, reach out to us on social media or in the comments. We'd love to have your input on things we discussed or your questions. We'd love to answer them. And if you have questions for our guest speaker next week, just reach out and we'll get
Oh yeah.
those questions asked.
So Tanisha, what's our email address again?
The Prosperity Project at gmail.com.
Yes. You can always send us an email. And if you would like to be a guest on our podcast, send us an email. We'd
Mm-hmm.
love to have you on.
I better double check that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to post our email address in the comments of this episode
Oh, that would be a good idea.
so that everybody can have the proper email address.
Yeah. I'd be like, Tanisha, I have no emails. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, because I love that, Charlene. Invite our listeners to be guest speakers on our podcast. If you have a subject you want to talk about and want to share with the world, heck yeah, we'd love to have you on. Reach out to us. I love it.
Cool. All
Yeah.
right, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. If you're listening in the US, happy Thanksgiving to the US of A. And yeah, stay warm, everybody.
Yeah. All right. See you next week, guys.